Commandant, the Deputy Commandant, Chief Instructors of the Sri Lanka Army, Navy and Air Force Wings, the members of the faculty, student officers from the friendly foreign nations, student officers of course number 14 from the Sri Lanka Army, Navy and the Air Force, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. Today, I'm honored to stand at this podium in my alma mater to address you as the Chief of Defence Staff at the command of the Sri Lanka Army. Defence Services and Services Command and Staff College is the epicenter of excellence, where the officers are groomed to be competent in holding command and staff appointments. Having said that, I'm proud to pay my own tribute to this great institution for shaping me to some extent during my course or my studies at this college. The college, its brief history has been rewritten with my assumption of the office of the Commander of the Sri Lanka Army as the 23rd Commander, who is a proud product of this prestigious institution. As a grade 1 officer, I too was at your place, sitting not in the very same hall, but in another auditorium over there. And it is the learning and the molding that imparted at these premises which led me to be who I am today. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been following a rigorous course of multiple disciplines for nearly a year, effectively demonstrating your capacity and capabilities to become the future leaders of your respective services. By now, you have reached the final stage of this course, and I believe you all will also be the true followers of this college's motto: to war with wisdom and knowledge, in serving the nation with enhanced wisdom, knowledge, expertise, and especially competence. Further, your grooming at this esteemed institution undoubtedly makes you capable of taking on higher and heavier responsibilities in any circumstances and trying conditions. I believe the pandemic situation in this country did not hamper much, especially for your studies, as we Sri Lankans have managed to contain and control the situation in regard to COVID-19 with credible, locally organized mechanism. I wish to make a special note on the student officers from our friendly foreign nations. I'm certain that your unique experiences here in the Defence Services and Command and Staff College have definitely sharpened your knowledge and wisdom coupled with some lifetime experiences to throw in your memory lane. Your active participation throughout the course is highly appreciated, and it positively contributed, I believe, to the other students of your same course, to the development of academic at the Staff College, and especially for the students of the course number 14. I'm confident that the interpersonal relationships and family ties that you have developed in the Defence Services and Command and Staff College in Sri Lanka will be cherished encounters in your lives to recall with pride in years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, now let me move on to today's topic with a brief overview. When the present operational environment is considered, we can understand it has become more complex and dynamic. The operations are launched in multiple domains where comparable platforms are available for adversaries to make counter moves. The conduct of operations is boundless in land, sea, air, space, and cyber, threatening the security of nations with constant competition and confrontation to gain a competitive advantage in achieving strategic objectives. Therefore, I believe the role of armed forces in this shapeless and uncertain operational environment demands the center of attention in accordance with the contemporary security challenges. In this backdrop, I wish to share my views with you on the evolution of the role of the armed forces and ensuring national security abreast with contemporary security challenges. It is evident the topic encompasses a vast area with some vital components. Therefore, I have chosen to look at the topic focusing on key attributes of evolution and the role of armed forces in the emerging security environment. I'll be unfolding my brief narrative under the following 4 subtopics. Ladies and gentlemen, first I will speak on historical perspective and evolution of the armed forces. The historical perspective of the land warfare is as old as the history of the mankind. However, the last few centuries of well-documented history shows how land warfare has evolved to be entailed as the most important tool of the statecraft for the projection of interest of nation states. The French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, and 2 world wars are cited as epochal events that brought very clear distinction in the evolution of armed forces. Nonetheless, rapid advances in scientific knowledge and technical capabilities in the past century have injected unprecedented dynamism into the development of armaments, creating a considerable uproar in military doctrine and organizational concepts. The end of the 20th century and the beginning of 21st century can justifiably be termed as an era paradigm shift in the nature of the conflict. The beginning of modern warfare can be argued to have commenced with the Second World War, along with the invention of nuclear armaments. However, these gradual developments of military affairs since ancient times have diligently influenced the role of armed forces. Ladies and gentlemen, let me move on to the present day realities by addressing the second subtopic. The world is becoming ever more complex and volatile. The only certainty about the future is its inherent uncertainty. Yet, we must prepare. We need to encourage curiosity to be comfortable with ambiguity and upon the world of possibility, not probability. In the present day operational environment, multiple adversaries act and react to each other, often unpredictably, in a struggle to succeed. Adversaries constantly seek to mitigate their own weaknesses, avoid opponents' strengths, and focus on aligning their strength against weaknesses. It is unlikely to get exact predictions on the character of the contemporary operational environment, as it is constantly changing. The global and the regional strategic environment is getting more complex, vulnerable, and shapeless due to various reasons. New security concerns have created at the world's economic and strategic center of gravity is shifting more rapidly to Asia-Pacific states. New threats from hegemony, power politics, and neo-interventionism, the international competition for redistribution of power, especially maritime supremacy, and rise of separatism, extremism, and terrorism, and non-traditional threats are quite evidently evolving as never before in different forms. Further, globalization and its impact on information flow and personal mobility makes it difficult to detect and defend against destabilizing activities by state and the non-state actors. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are well aware by now, the operational environment entails the composite of conditions, circumstances, and influences that affect the employment of military forces, for this matter, for any country. Similarly, given the evolving nature of the international security environment, most changes are based on a rather large dose of uncertainty coming from nature, extent, or duration. I believe over the next decade, it is likely the world will face unstable, unpredictable, and increasingly complex global security environment. This is what you all might have to face in time to come. The rise of non-state actors and increase in hybrid threats changes the international order, and expanding urbanization could be the focal complexities in the global operational environment. The broad diffusion of technology is also enabling non-state actors and individuals to acquire state-like capabilities, challenging the traditional state authorities. Similarly, state actors will increasingly utilize proxy war forces, criminal organizations, orchestrated civil unrest, and non-governmental networks of computer hackers, in contrast with their traditional war-fighting capabilities, to create instability, while complicating an opponent's development and application of effective countermeasures. Non-state actors, including terrorist organizations, will continue to acquire sophisticated military equipment, enabling them to conquer territory and fight smaller-scale military forces on equal footing. Hybrid threats will also leverage social networks and all forms of media to distribute propaganda to the widest possible audience in order to weaken the resistance and gain the required resources for the secret operations. Ladies and gentlemen, with a brief elaboration on the present operational environment, let me now wish to bring you attention toward the next subtopic. The character of security challenges evolves based on assigned missions, operational environment, emerging technologies, and changes in enemy capabilities, objectives, and especially will. As Greek historian Thucydides identified 2,500 years ago, the future conflict also evolves from the same reasons of fear, honor, and interest. Every security challenge exhibits some combination of violence, emotion, policy, opportunity, and risk. As such, the geostrategic location of Sri Lanka would bring an end number of traditional challenges that would undermine national security metrics of our great nation, Sri Lanka. The security challenges of Sri Lanka involves not only conventional force, but also narcotic cartels, multinational corporations, non-governmental organizations, and so on. Similarly, the natural disasters and events causing severe environmental damages are also threats to our national security. At present, national security remains the most complex strategic challenge faced by the nations. I believe the future challenges to the national security will be notably irregular in style when compared with the most of the hostile encounters we had in the modern history. Therefore, preparing for such an eventuality requires the investment of very significant human, material, and technological resources. The instability of the world, characterized by constant competition between the array of actors, many of them whom seeks to undermine the international rules-based order, is a present-day complexity faced by the most of the nations around the world. Increasingly, a country like our country, Sri Lanka, could not be away from such global reality. Therefore, tactical successes cannot only be achieved in physical terms to ensure national security of Sri Lanka. As the form of warfare is changing with the evolution, adversaries are actively adjusting their ends, ways and means with much more sophistication. In such conditions, we could not have been able to wish away from ground realities. We need to address the changing facets of the operational environment. As such, being the Chief of Defence Staff and the Commander of the Sri Lanka Army, I always rely upon the reliance on the likelihood of the enemy's failure should not be the cause for the preparedness of our own forces. I think I mentioned this during my last address to the last course number 13 as well. Ladies and gentlemen, let me speak a few words of Sri Lanka Army with a particular reference to the subject now. The Sri Lanka Army should be prepared to do more than fighting and defeating the enemies. We must possess the capability to translate military objectives into enduring national outcomes. That is very important for an army of a small economy like our nation. The army must also have the capability and capacity to accomplish assigned missions while confronting increasingly dangerous threats in a complex operational environment. As future operations seems to be inherently cross-domain operations, we need to be consistent with the tenets of ability, adaptability, anticipating dangers and opportunities, and adjusting operation to seize, retain, and exploit the initiative. It is an absolute necessity that the security architecture of country needs to revisit with appropriate institutional changes, and I am happy to note that the Sri Lanka Army has completed formulating an overreaching strategy named as Way Forward Strategy 2020-2025 in order to clear such vacuums within our own system. The logical start point of successes being with the right military training. In order to meet the current operational requirements, the military must master their military knowledge, skills, and attitude in various disciplines. I believe our training needs to encourage the exercise of initiative inconsistent with the philosophy of mission command to be successful in the face of present-day security challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, now let me take you through the final part of my address this morning. The vision of the future must generate changes to ensure that the armed forces are prepared to prevent conflict, shape the security environment, and win through the national security challenges. To do so, we need to understand a few significant questions. Please bear in mind what level of threat that the armed forces are going to address. What is the environment that the armed forces will operate in? And what is the problem that the armed forces attempt to solve? We should know what are we going to solve. The armed forces need to predict who will fight, where it will be fought, and with what equipment it will be carried out. These are the questions we should know. Therefore, a frequent examination of perceivable threats is of vital importance to determine the ends, ways, and the means. The role of armed forces to be redefined, especially with the emerging character of warfare. Anticipating the demands of future national security threats requires an understanding of continuous and the nature of the operational environment, as well as the appreciation for changes in the character of perceived security threats. Geographical distances and boundaries have almost lost their relevance due to increasing connectivity, interdependence, interoperability, and greater transparency, and so on. Sri Lanka cannot remain unaffected by the events developing across the world, especially in our region, in terms of broader security interest. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's context, it is imperative to review the priorities and focus on the development of human capital to ensure that the intelligent, dedicated, and responsive military force would address the challenges envisaged in divergent security threats. I, as the commander of the Sri Lanka Army, must mention that the Sri Lanka Army is comprehensively concerned and in the process of developing its capacity in combat, logistic, information, cyber operations in the face of emerging traditional and non-traditional security threats. Similarly, the Sri Lanka Army is at the highest level of battle preparedness on contingencies while introducing various training modules and exercises to that effect, which are being more refined and continued to date. Equally, the capacity in incorporating most modern techniques of warfare and based on our own experiences gained during the 3-decade-long conflict with LTT. As the Chief of Defence Staff and the Commander of the Army, I distinctly believe the preparedness is same with our sister services as well. As I mentioned before, the center of gravity of geopolitical, geoeconomic, and geostrategic scenario is increasingly shifting towards Asia-Pacific states. These strategic shifts would bring an n number of transnational challenges that would affect the national security matrix of our country, Sri Lanka. In this backdrop, we need to evolve a new philosophy and strategy along with intelligence and a strong defense mechanism to preserve national security interest. In conclusion, Sri Lanka is presently moving forward in a positive note amidst numerous challenges originated in local and international context. The economic development, reduction of corruption, constructive engagement against alleged war crimes, revitalizing the foreign policy towards win-win philosophy, promoting of meaningful reconciliation, strengthening of national security metrics, socio-economic development, attracting investment, and recently erupted pandemic situation are the challenges now tabled before the present government. The government of Sri Lanka is working at its best to harness every opportunity to cope up with the challenges in view of venturing into a prosperous future. Therefore, as members of the armed forces, we should be able to establish sustainable security environment in support of the government to accelerate its constructive efforts ensuring national security. Ladies and gentlemen, upon your graduation, you will be assigned with new appointments. Thereby, you are expected to discharge the entrusted duties with the highest level of commitment and dedication. It is our responsibility to be exemplary to your subordinates whilst encouraging them to be professional and competent with available training opportunities. Further, I encourage you to serve your country with highest degree of honor, valor, and dignity in order to uphold the great reputation which your respective services have built upon over the years. Your graduation from Defence Services Command and Staff College is certainly an achievement, but it is not the ultimate of your professional life. I advise you to continue your studies to be a true military professional, as it in turn benefits the military in particular and the nation at large. I take this opportunity to offer my special thanks to the Commandant and the staff of the Defence Services and Command and Staff College for their untiring efforts to uplift the standards of this esteemed training institution to present state, and also giving all the knowledge over a year for all of you in the course number 14. Let me express my regards to all foreign officers for their participation. Ladies and gentlemen, you have undoubtedly been privileged to be student officers of course number 14 of this great institution. To receive the excellent opportunity to develop your professional knowledge and understanding while gaining international exposure. I believe this is how all the foreign students who have come from our friendly foreign nations will think. I extend my best wishes to you all to excel in your future endeavors. Let me once again wish all of you the very best for forthcoming graduation from Defence Services Command and Staff College. My blessings are always with you to reach the pinnacle of successors in your military services in the years to come.